Mhm. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us in this lovely video. My name is Sarai, and I'm here with my colleague Tracy, and we're here to discuss time management tools for success.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
So first, we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Tracy Timble, and I use she, her pronouns. I am one of the lead access specialists at the DRC. I present visually as an Asian female with short black hair. I am wearing a burgundy colored cardigan with a white t-shirt, and there is a beach scene as my background.
My name is Sarai. I am one of the access specialists here for the Disability Resource Center. I use she, her pronouns, and I visually present as an Indigenous woman in her mid-20s. I have long, black, dark brown hair. I'm currently wearing a dark gray shirt along with some headphones, and my background includes some lovely horses.
All right. So now we're going to make a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which Cal Poly sits carries the heritage and culture of the indigenous people of San Luis Obispo County, the Yak-i-Tutu, Yak-Tihini, Northern Chumash tribe. We honor the indigenous people's connection to these territories and respect the land on which we gather.
So, in today's presentation, we'll be discussing various topics related towards time management. We kindly ask that you refrain from asking personal questions related towards your disability. And, if you have any further questions, you can always contact myself or Tracy. This is in order to maintain confidentiality. And just know that this is being recorded. So if you do have any questions, you can always contact us or feel free to take notes in the meantime. So our presentation, as mentioned, will cover a variety of different areas. Our goals, what we hope to achieve through the discussion, factors that contribute to poor time management, and tips to improve it, time management strategies and tools for effective organization, productivity boosting strategies, and a rundown of campus resources available to you. And lastly, we'll open up the floor for any questions that you may have. And we hope you find this presentation informative, beneficial. We appreciate your time talking with us today.
All right. So now we're going to talk about the goals for our discussion today. And please remember that this is not meant to be an exhaustive end all be all discussion about time management. For today's discussion, the goals are for participants to develop a greater self-awareness with how they manage their time, and also to walk away with ideas, strategies, and resources to improve time management and productivity throughout the quarter. We are hoping to plant some seeds to help motivate you down the path towards a more intentional plan of action for improved time management and productivity. Some common problems that we often find that lead to poor time management might include some of these areas that you see here on the slide. Executive functioning involves those factors in the area of production, such as planning, working memory, and organizing. Individuals can also have issues with lack of prioritization. So as a busy student, you might have many tasks to complete. This can become overwhelming, and you might not know what is the most important thing to do first. So then you might experience some issues with knowing what to prioritize. Procrastination is another area that we see that leads to poor time management. So when things get overwhelming, it just might be easier to put off a task rather than to initiate it. So you might often find yourself procrastinating. And we all procrastinate to a certain extent. It's when it interferes with your ability to function, that's when it really becomes a major issue. Task initiation is another challenge that we see with time management. It might be difficult to start tasks or assignments, especially very complex ones. Difficulty with task initiation often goes hand in hand with poor executive functioning and also procrastination. We see a lot of students experience anxiety, and anxiety can interfere with time management and productivity. Feelings of being overwhelmed by having too much to do can escalate and therefore adversely impact how someone might utilize their time. The area of multitasking is also another issue. So you might have been told that multitasking is a good thing. However, research has shown otherwise, that multitasking actually hinders the quality of our work. If we try to do too many things at the same time, we're not able to dedicate adequate focus and energy on one particular task. And what ends up happening is that we make errors and we might submit work that is subpar in quality. So think again when you're trying to take on more than one thing at one time. Distractions is sort of an obvious one. So obviously, when you're distracted, it takes time away from what you should be doing and what's most important at the moment. So minimizing distractions such as access to social media and screen time might be easier said than done, but it's still key to getting the most out of your time. Many individuals also experience a high degree of perfectionism. So when this occurs, someone might become obsessed with the minutia involved with completing something, and that can use up precious time. So knowing when a task or assignment is completed well enough to submit will be helpful so that you can move on to other things that are just as important.
So this slide is kind of to visualize a little bit about what Tracy was discussing. We have a Venn diagram with different areas of time, energy, and focus. So when we have a lot of time and a lot of focus, but we don't have any energy, this can lead to exhaustion. Feelings of feeling burnt out. You may find yourself torn between needing to work and the desire to relax. So this is the problem with the lack of energy. Oftentimes you can feel, I'm feeling drained. I just want to relax. And then we kind of push away our work, which can lead towards procrastination. And then if we were to have a lot of time and a lot of energy, but not enough focus, this can lead towards distraction. We have all experienced this at one time. I know I have, where we have a 1 to 3 hour block time that's free, no meetings, no classes. It's just a general block time. And we tell ourselves, I will get this work done within this time. And then once we sit down, we just completely get distracted and start, utilizing our phone, Instagram. I'm guilty of always looking at YouTube videos when I know I'm supposed to catch up on stuff. So when this happens again, this can also hinder our progress with completing our tasks. And again, we can even experience more procrastination. Oftentimes, though, there are students and people that experience, they have the energy, they have the focus, but they just feel that there isn't any time. And what this can actually lead towards is resentment, feelings of resentment towards our motivation of being here, either at work, school, or even we place those important things above our own personal lives. You can feel saddled with the responsibility of everything else going on in your life, and work must take a back seat. The to-do list continues to grow and grow, and you may feel overwhelmed once you see how much work you put off. And, that can also lead to feelings of not wanting to do any of the work, feeling overwhelmed. So similar to what Tracy was mentioning too. So the balance of productivity is finding, time, energy, and focus. Once we find a balance between all three of them, our effectiveness and efficiency increases and we're able to be productive.
So as you move forward in exploring your time management system and ways to improve upon your time management system, there are some things to keep in mind. First and foremost, just remember that there are many systems out there. It can be overwhelming. I mean, you see store shelves filled with planners and calendars. You know that there's apps out there with time management focus. So just remember, there are a lot of systems out there. Don't get overwhelmed, okay? And it will take time. Remember that finding an effective system means taking small steps, and those small steps will build upon each other. So you need the patience to allow yourself to go from step to step. And you need to be able to go through some sort of ongoing self-analysis. Think about your needs, your own individual time management needs. Try not to compare yourself with others who might be using different systems that might work for them, because what works for others might not work for you. So keep that in mind. Another important thing to think about is to be flexible and to be open to trial and error while you're trying out these systems and exploring different systems. Be flexible. Allow yourself room for change. That's okay. And if something doesn't work out, that's okay too. So let's say you found something that works. That's great. Stick with it, because we find that no matter how fancy or how many bells and whistles come in the time management system, it's not going to be effective if you're not going to use it. So if you do find something that works, then stick with it. But know that your system might continue to change and to evolve over time as maybe you discover additional time management systems that you would like to incorporate, or strategies or tips that you like to incorporate into your existing time management system. So just know that it might change. Things might change and look a little different for you as time goes on. And as Wasada was saying earlier about finding that balance, remember that when you're exploring time management systems, the goal is to find balance with academic and personal life. So when you're looking at different time management systems, think about how you'll be able to utilize that system to not only track and plan and organize academic or work life, but also how you could incorporate personal life events in order to make sure that your system is comprehensive and balanced.
All right then, so let's start discussing a little bit more about helpful strategies. So low-tech strategies, we start off by discussing paper-based tools. And I know as we're settling into the new millennium, it may seem a little bit outdated, but you can always count on this form of low-tech strategy for its reliability and effectiveness. Planners, calendars are excellent tools to keep track of your important dates, such as midterms, assignments, deadlines, even doctor's appointments. Sticky notes are also great for to-do lists, and a variety of sticky notes come in different formats. So there's some pretty cute ones that you can always use, post it around, planners and calendars. There's these big ones that you can have across your walls to help keep track of dates. And of course, if you need any assistance with budgeting, there are time ledgers to help with that as well. If you don't feel comfortable using those, you're saying, maybe I already have that. I have my phone that I can use my to-do list. Then we would also recommend using a Pomodoro or a kitchen timer to help with time management. So this technique involves breaking down work into intervals called Pomodoros. And this is typically 25 minutes long, followed by a 5-minute break. And after 4 Pomodoros are completed, a longer break of either 15 through 30 minutes is taken and allows for a brief period of rest and reflection. And we recommend using a kitchen timer though to avoid using your phone because, again, this can cause a distraction. Prioritization is also something that we would recommend doing. And, we've all had feelings of FOMO, fear of missing out, but it's an important life skill to learn how to say no and learn to prioritize specific events and specific tasks. Because again, circling back to like the Venn diagram, if we put off a lot of these tasks, we can start feeling resentment and we can start questioning, why am I here? Why am I doing the work that I do? And we don't want you to go and reach all the levels of feeling burnt out. So again, prioritization and learning to say no is something that can also be used to help with your time management.
Yeah, so along the lines of low-tech strategies, and as Sarahi mentioned, low-tech strategies can be very helpful. And many people utilize low-tech strategies in light of all of the high-tech strategies and high-tech um, systems that are out there and available to us. So I'm going to go over some of the high-tech strategies that are available for time management. Obviously, we are on our phones a lot, so we are very connected and we have access to mobile apps. Sarahi explained how the Pomodoro technique works, and there are apps available with Pomodoro timers. These apps are often free and effective as long as you don't get distracted by having them on the phone nearby. So with that said, there are mobile apps to help with focus by blocking access to other applications and related distractions. Cold Turkey Blocker and Freedom are two examples of apps that block so that you can't access other apps and be distracted. Session is a combination of a Pomodoro timer and distraction blocker. So you might want to look into Session if you would like to utilize a more digital high-tech version of a Pomodoro timer, but yet you don't want to be distracted by other apps. So Session might be a good compromise for you. So calendars is another way to utilize high-tech strategies. As Sarahi mentioned, obviously there's paper-based calendars, but many of us have gotten used to also utilizing more high-tech calendars, such as Google Calendar, Outlook, or Apple Calendar. And you can utilize these apps to indicate due dates for assignments. You can set up alerts and notifications for when you need to leave for class, or if you have an upcoming exam, and you can indicate when to receive those notifications and alerts. There's also project management tools that are available and are very helpful. So be on the lookout for those. And many times they're free. So some examples are Trello and Pivotal Tracker. Those are just two examples of high-tech project management tools. So what I'm going to show you now is an example of a Trello board. So Trello is a free project management app. They have a free version, and there is a more premium paid version. So what you're looking at here is a sample Trello board. And within the Trello app, you could create multiple boards for different purposes. And there's even templates that you can use to create different boards for different reasons, for different types of projects. On this sample board, I created one for, say, an English class. And within your board, you could create separate lists. And within these lists, you can create cards. So the different colored rectangles that you see in each list, those are called cards. And the color-coded cards can be maybe steps that you are taking to complete a project. So you'll see in my first list, essay 1. And under essay 1, I've broken up that essay project into smaller chunks. So for example, week 1, I might meet with my professor to review an outline that I put together for essay 1. During week 2, I might write the intro and first 2 pages of the essay. While week 3, I'm moving on to pages 3 and 4. And on week 4, I'm writing that last page and conclusion for my essay. Finally, when all that is done, I'll proofread and make final edits. And as you can see, I've created a card to alert me as to when my paper is due. Looks like it's due October 27th by 5 p.m. So it's great because then I'll see that and it'll remind me, hey, I need to get this done by then. So creating a list allows you to chunk larger projects into smaller pieces so that they're more doable. And so therefore it's easier to initiate a larger project if you break it down into smaller chunks like this. And I also created another sample for, say, a chapter 5 reading and questions assignment. So very similar. And the great thing about Trello is that the color coding is very flexible. There's a whole catalog of photos that you can choose from. I decided to choose the alarm clock for urgency. So you can choose from a whole catalog of different pictures to indicate whatever you want it to mean. And also you'll see on the Trello board, there's a done list. So when I'm done with each task of my project, I can drag that card into the done list so that I can see what kind of progress I'm making towards each project. And then you can archive and make those cards disappear so they're not cluttering your board. So again, this is Trello. And I love this app because it's flexible, it's easy to use, it's visual. So the color coding, the pictures that you can add, all create a very stimulating, engaging, and visual project management tool. So check it out. Again, this is a free version, but there's also a premium version that might give you access to more features. So now that we talked about some time management strategies, different low-tech, high-tech strategies, thought we might talk about productivity strategies. So time management also involves how to make the best use of your time so you're not wasting it. And some of these strategies, and this is again not an exhaustive list, some of these strategies might be used to help make best use of your time. We talked about the Pomodoro technique earlier to make sure that you are focusing on different aspects of an assignment or task and working on them in small increments. 25-minute work time, 5-minute break time, and 4 of those followed by a larger break time. So Pomodoro technique is very effective for productivity. If you do have large blocks of time, make sure you define what that block of time looks like. I've had students come to me and say, hey, I've got 2 to 3 hours of time where I plan to work. But if they don't define what that block of time looks like and they sit down to work, they don't know what to work on first and they get overwhelmed. And what Sara E mentioned earlier is that they end up on YouTube or getting distracted by apps or doing something that's not even related to schoolwork. So if you have a large block of time, define what that looks like. For example, if you are studying between 1 and 3 o'clock, maybe 1 to 1:30, you're working on reading a few pages from a chapter for one class. Maybe and then you'll take a little break. Maybe from 2:45 to 3:15, you're working on a part of an essay. So that's just an example of what it might look like to define what parts of a large block of time would be for you. So be sure to define that. Break up assignments into smaller chunks. You saw how I did that in the Trello app. Take an assignment and break it up into doable chunks. This will help with initiation. Because often when you're faced with a large project and you don't know how to start it and it's just overwhelming, you're more likely to put it off and procrastinate rather than start it. So if you're breaking it up and you're focusing on just one small aspect of that assignment and nothing else, you're more likely to initiate it and to start it. By breaking up assignments into smaller chunks, you're also less likely to procrastinate. So do your best to break up assignments into smaller chunks. It might take a little practice at first, but over time, you'll get used to it. Be sure to take brain breaks. I know that it can be hard once you're on a roll, that you just want to just bulldoze and work through an entire hour or two without taking a break. Be sure to take a brain break, or you will be cognitively fatigued and you're not going to have much to give. So do take those little breaks. Research has shown that listening to music while working is very helpful for productivity, especially that kind of music that's repetitive and it's predictable, such as video game music. And oftentimes, if you go to music streaming services like Spotify, they will have lists of music just dedicated to, say, like video game music that's very loopy and repetitive. So look for that kind of music. That might be helpful. Or what kind of music, whatever music that you like listening to that will help you be productive. Utilize mindfulness strategies. If you tend to get distracted a lot and it's hard for you to focus on the here and now and focus on your assignment or project, then mindfulness strategies might help. They might include breathing exercises so that you can focus on your breath at that moment so that you're centered and in the moment. Keeping a gratitude journal is another example of a mindfulness strategy so that you can think about what is going well for you at that moment so that you can stay in the present instead of getting distracted by other things. And don't forget to reward yourself. You work hard, so you should reward that hard work. It could be something small, like treating yourself out to a coffee at Starbucks, or maybe something bigger, like brand new shoes from DSW or something like that. But be sure to reward yourself because you do put a lot of hard work into your day.
Sorry, I was on mute there. So for on-campus resources, there are a variety of resources available to you. The first one that we'll discuss a little bit more in depth is the ASC Online Articles of Time Management. So the Academic Skills Center, or ASC, provides a lot of supplemental workshops. And one of the workshops that they have is specifically in regards to time management. They have a variety of schedules already made for you. They have some for daily schedules, weekly, and even quarterly. I would recommend trying out first kind of like a daily if you feel overwhelmed by seeing your whole entire quarter there. I know it can be very overwhelming. So the daily schedules are really great just to have and just to kind of see exactly how to break down your day, the important tasks that you need to do, as well as a weekly schedule, kind of mapping out exactly what you need to do throughout the week. Now, the Academic Skills Center also provides, as I mentioned, articles regarding best practices for time management. And we encourage you to look further into the link that's there on the page and just kind of learn a little bit more about it. The other resource that's available to you is through the DRC. And that's actually an AT consult or assistive technology consult with our colleague, John Lee. He has a variety of different assistive technology consults available for other areas. But if you're interested in specifically related towards time management, then we would recommend an AT consult for executive functioning. There you can meet with him and kind of discuss a little bit more about your concerns with time management or executive functioning and kind of explore what are some assistive technologies that are compatible with the technology that you have available. The really cool thing about this is that it's actually, it's a free service. If you are curious about it, you can contact us if you have any questions. and we're more than glad to connect you with John. Most appointments are done via Zoom, so it does offer a lot of flexibility. Another thing, if you're still unsure, like, maybe I don't want to meet with John right away, well, good news for you. John created a page known as Getting or Good Grades with Gadgets. I always say getting good grades with gadgets because you do get good grades with these gadgets. He has a variety of different gadgets, and gadgets I'm meaning more like apps, different forms of technology. And it's a really cool tool to just kind of view and just kind of look over because it talks about note taking, has he has some related towards STEM, time management. So it's a variety of different topics as well. And you can simply Google good grades with gadgets, CP Slow, and you'll see it's the first link available there. There are other campus resources such as counseling services. Counseling services offers emotional well-being workshops such as anxiety toolbox and mindfulness. And these are mainly to help address a little bit more deeper challenges that you may have been experiencing with executive functioning. You know, one of the common themes, I'm not sure if you've been noticing, but it's anxiety. Anxiety can be something that can also affect our time management skills, and counseling services offers this as an emotional well-being workshop, and they're offered throughout the quarter. We recommend visiting counseling services page to learn of updated dates. Most of the emotional well-being workshops are actually done via Zoom, so it also offers a lot of flexibility. Other resources that we would recommend attending would be academic advising. So if you're a first year student, this would be the Mustang Success Center. If you're a continuing student as a sophomore and above, then you would visit your advising department of your major. And the really cool thing about them is that you can create different action plans and make sure that you're keeping on track with your degree. Professor office hours. This is a resource that's very underrated. And I know it can be very scary to talk with your professor and just meet with them one on one, but it's actually very beneficial because it allows you to connect with your professor and keep on track of your assignments and make sure that you are also receiving that one on one conversation with them to make sure that you're succeeding in the class. And you're paying good money. You're paying good money. So why not talk with the professor, kind of learn a little bit more about what are the best tactics that you can do to be successful in the course. Um, if you are a registered DRC student and you're nervous about approaching your professor, well, you can always contact your access specialist for further assistance, and we're more than happy to provide you with that. Another resource also available towards DRC students is the Quiet Study Space. So this is something new, and this is technically only for DRC registered students at this time. So if you are trying to find a study space, as you know, the Kennedy Library right now is under construction. There are that many spots available across campus. So the DRC study space is available for DRC registered students. There is a QR code that you got to scan and sign up with. I believe you can sign up for in 30-minute increments. You can stack these upon each other. So just a matter of signing up and making sure that you do attend them. And then any questions or concerns with that, you can always contact us for further information. And last but not least, tutoring. If we're concerned about the material, we're not really that, and having some challenges with that, tutoring can also help us prepare with that time management. Not wanting to feel procrastinating on that assignment because we're not understanding the material. Well, let's dig in that a little bit deeper. Tutoring can help. The Writing and Learning Center does offer free tutoring to students, as well as the Mustang Success Center. So all of these resources are here available to you. Some do need to be, affiliated with the DRC, but as you can tell, like majority of them, they're already available if you're not registered with the DRC. And we would highly recommend starting off at least talking with an academic advisor, or even starting off first by talking with your professor. You can even say, hey, professor, I just want to make sure I'm being successful this quarter. What would be the best tactics to have for the remainder of the quarter for your class? And trust me, professors are more than welcome to work with you. They want to see that encouragement also from their students. So don't feel nervous. You got this. Make sure that you just keep an open communication with them as well.
So thank you for joining us today for our presentation on time management and productivity. We hope that you take away with you greater self-awareness, or start thinking about at least what you might do to develop a time management system for yourself or improve upon one that you already use. And also some of the ideas, strategies, and resources that we provided, we hope that they will also help you in your journey towards better time management and productivity. If you do have any questions about any of the information that we presented today, please feel free to reach out to the DRC. You can also find our contact information online if you Google Cal Poly DRC staff, and you'll see Sarahi and my name there, as well as our contact information. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. We also welcome you to reach out to your primary access specialist, since they also have access to the same information and resources and can guide you in the right direction. So again, we really thank you for your time. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you around the DRC.
Thanks, y'all. Take care.